welcome to another episode of Rolling with Emma. Today I have Tiffanie Williams with me, and Tiffany is one of the kindest, most caring, and gentle metaphysical mamas that I've ever met. She's a gifted healer, not only because she teaches people how to apply the EFT or tapping techniques, but also because she personally guides you to understand what limiting belief systems, fears, and judgments are causing you to suffer physical, mental, and emotional pain. So welcome, Tiffany, and thank you for being on my show.
Hi, my sweet Emma. And I'm laughing because we were trying to get the Skype thing to work and we were shouting expletives and we were not being kind and gentle. We were, it worked. Here we are.
Thank you for having me. It worked, and sometimes you just need to laugh it off. That's just how
we did. Oh my God. I've got that belly laugh feeling where just your face is, I'm already tired from laughing. So it's a good problem. You're like,
why is this not working? But we're here. We made it. We're straight. We're right next to each other. So woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you.
So far, so good, people. So hopefully this will continue to go in the right way. So welcome, sweetie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love rolling with Emma. I love all the work that you're doing. Thank you for teaching us about meditation and messages from spirit and how to live happy, healthy lives. So I'm happy to be here teaching about tapping today.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you today about tapping. You see it all over, you hear it all over, and I myself need some tapping advice because I've never done it before, and I know you've been saying, hey, we need to do a tapping session. So
I know people get tired of me going, you can tap on that, let me tap with you. People get tired of me saying it, but it's like this amazing go-to tool for relaxing yourself, centering, getting through the emotion or the difficulty to get to the blessing or the solution. So.
Right. And, you hear so many great results with this. And so, I'm all about teaching and I'm all about sharing tools with people so we can, be able to deal with the stress and we can be able to relieve ourselves from these lower vibrations that kind of hold us down and that kind of block us. So I thought it would be great if we can kind of discuss about tapping and just see what it is, and what it's good for, how it works. So let's start with the easiest question. What is it? What is EFT?
EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. You might hear it called emotional tapping. There's faster EFT. There's lots of versions, but the core idea is we're combining the art and science of acupuncture, and that is working with the lines of energy that are running through your body and combining that with sort of talk therapy. So I'm not a therapist or a counselor, psychologist, but everybody has access to their thoughts, their beliefs, their body energy. So this is an amazing self-help tool that you can learn literally within 5 minutes. And the beauty comes when you actually start applying it to whatever's going on in your life. So we are literally tapping on the ends of our meridians, which are lines of energy that run through our body, while we're talking about any issue or problem that we have. And what's so cool is that we're often triggered into the fight or flight system. We're often perceiving threats, not feeling safe, feeling stressed out. And that's our sympathetic nervous system taking over, pushing us into fight or flight. Like, do we want to run from this? Do we want to fight it? Or do we feel paralyzed and don't know what to do? Fight, flight, or freeze often. And we cope with those feelings in lots of ways, often unhealthy ways. We can smoke them, drink them, sex them, shop them, ignore them, put them out onto other people. But EFT is a really cool way of dealing with your own emotions before you act out on them. Okay. So we're literally tapping on our energy points while we're bringing up the issue that we're dealing with. And that kicks us into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and relaxation mode. We all have that. And some people access it doing yoga or meditation or being in the flow of whatever brings you joy. You're kind of in that rest, repair, relax mode. Mm-hmm. But most of us don't often get ourselves over there enough to let our adrenal system relax, because when you're in fight or flight, your body's got all the adrenaline, it's got cortisol, and maybe it's a big trauma that happened, but often we're reliving that trauma over and over and over again, sometimes decades later, and we don't release it from our system, and our body's consistently responding to it because our brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening and what we're telling it is happening. So when we're tapping, it's actually sending a signal to the amygdala, which is that part of your nervous system that triggers fight or flight. And it actually sends like a calming reset signal to it. So that's why we're actively addressing the problem. That's why we're actually talking about the problem and bringing it up. And a lot of people who are into law of attraction, like, well, I don't want to talk about the problem. I'm like, no, I know, I totally understand. But if we address it and come at it with love and compassion and physiologically tap down our body's response to it, the feelings that we get, then we can reach for that better feeling thought, or we can believe the affirmation more, we can really understand it and believe it instead of just trying to like positive talk ourselves into something that we don't really believe, because our body's going, you say I'm safe, but I don't feel safe.
Yeah. Well, so basically it's kind of like a combination of affirmations of positive thinking combined with energy healing in a way.
Yes.
Because you're dealing with energy and you're dealing with affirmations. So
it's body, mind, soul, spirit.
Right.
It's physical, mental, and emotional. It's and everybody can do it. And so I love it because although I'm a practitioner and I teach people how to do this, I love it that you can go home and do this for yourselves in any situation. It's free. There's no negative side effects other than positive ones.
Right.
And you can literally transform. And I teach people, you have so much discernment over how you feel, how you think, how you react, then you know. And we often give our power over to a doctor or a pill or the government or wanting somebody else to change to make me feel better. This is a way to make yourself feel better. Really take a lot of ownership of who you are, how you're showing up in the world. And so, yeah, it's a combination of all of it. And I found it about 13, 14 years ago and just fell in love with it. And I've done traditional therapy when I was younger, which is great. But this is like traditional therapy on steroids. It's super fast charge. You can get effective results within minutes.
Right.
On major issues, chronic issues, pain, phobias, you can really shift things. It seems like a miracle. It seems like, how in the world would this shift, some chronic thing I've had for 20 years. I see it all the time. You just have to just try it for yourself.
And the good thing is, you can do it anywhere. If you're stressed out, go to the bathroom. Guys, I got to go to the bathroom at work, just get yourself relaxed. So you don't need a special space for it. You don't need a lot of stuff for it to do it. It's just you. You just need you. And a little bit of calm down time.
And I tell people, you're thinking it anyway. Go ahead and take a few minutes to tap through it. And you will experience it differently.
I hope you don't mind that Eric pops in and Adam. They're kind of joining forces here. I got kind of a little bit distracted there for a second because they were talking to me while you were talking as well. And so this is kind of, he's just going, hey, Tiffany. They're both kind of waving.
Hi, Eric.
And he just wanted to
kind of both? Eric and who?
Eric and Adam Howell.
Oh, and Adam too. Okay.
Yes. So they both kind of I don't know. It just feels like they're joining forces. It just feels like they're merging together, and they wanted to kind of give their perspective on it or their explanation on it. And you'll see he says that it's the same thing that what Tiffany says, but it might give a little bit more clarity. He says. Well, don't use pictures, honey. Just use words, okay? Okay, so he's saying, so looking at your brain is naturally wired to detect threats in your environment and to keep you safe, right? And so when you have a negative emotional reaction to an event, your brain will record that and store that information. And it'll be recorded in the subconscious mind. And so whenever you kind of experience a similar event, whenever you experience a similar threat, you will respond in the same way, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just how our brain works, and so over the years we have been programming our mind to, be fearful whenever something new happens, to be scared, or to have anxiety, or to respond with, I've got to run. I'm out of here. Let's say you got bitten by a dog once when you were little. Now you see a dog, you instantly become fearful because, that was a threat, and you're kind of programmed your mind to have that kind of flee experience, right? And so he says, what happens with EFT is EFT involves recalling a stressful event or an emotionally charged memory while tapping on certain stress reducing points on your body. And so this activates specific energy meridians, like you were talking about, that help send a new message to your brain that the memory is not a threat. So basically as you are tapping, you are reprogramming the mind to have a different outcome. So whenever you see a dog, you're no longer afraid, for instance. By using the tapping method, you basically reprogram and rewire the mind. You're saying, and this has been shown that this process can effectively rewire your conditioned response to that memory, and your memories will still remain. The memories don't change, but the emotional charge and the resulting stress response that you have will be gone. And so he just wanted to that's his point of view. That's how he sees it.
Oh my gosh, Eric, that is perfect.
It's a rewiring.
Down.
It's a rewiring of events and outcomes and responses. That's what it is. So
yes.
How cool is that?
And you said they were all in the subconscious, because often we don't know why we're so upset
Right.
or afraid. We just have this fear and don't know how to respond to it. So you're right. So many things get programmed, and in this culture, we're often programmed through lack, to be consumerism. If I buy this, then I'll feel better.
Right.
And if I achieve this, then I'll feel better. When I get that, then I'll feel better. And we're fed that on a daily basis, and we never get on the other side of it.
Right. And it's just crazy to think that past events, and this might have even happened to you as a baby, can have such an impact on your later life. And then it's sometimes hard to kind of retrace where did it come from. But I guess with EFT, it's not so much important as to where it come from, but it's important about to rewire it now so it no longer bothers you. So you take away the fear, you take away the stress, or it's just, I think it's really cool. So I definitely need to learn this.
Yeah, and this could even involve past lives. There are even people that come through with phobias, and it's past life. It didn't even happen in this life. And so you don't even have to know where it came from or have to go back through the traumatic memory. You're just tapping on the feeling sensations that you have in this present time. Or it could be something you're worried about. It hasn't even happened yet, but you're projecting all this fear onto something. So we can effectively decrease that sensation up and down the timeline through past lives, future lives. And it can be something your mother was worried about, and she sort of gave you that worry. It wasn't even yours. You didn't even have that experience, but mom was always scared of snakes, so I think I should be as scared of snakes.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
We do get programmed by our parents' responses sometimes,
Even in utero, they did a study where a little mouse, the mother was subjected to a negative stimulus every time she smelled the smell.
Right.
And the babies came out pre-programmed to respond to that smell negatively.
Wow.
So they didn't even have the physical experience or the teaching.
Right.
It just sort of genetically, that
belief was passed. I think it's more energetically probably, because people underestimate the energy. Energy has memory, and so I remember I had a reading once a long time ago when I was really depressed, and I think I was about 17 or 18 years old, and she told me the reason I was so fearful was because my mother had introduced it to me while she was pregnant with me. she had apparently fallen down the stairs while high pregnant with me, and she was so terrified that there was something, that something had happened to me, that according to that medium, she had passed on that and I didn't know. My mother never told me. And then later on, I was like, she said you fell when you were pregnant with me. And Mom's like, oh, yes, I was so scared. I was like, see, you introduced that to me.
Well, and it can be well-intentioned. And I feel as a parent, I'm often, don't do this or don't talk to strangers. We often program our kids with the best of intentions. But
I mean, we don't. Yeah, we don't do it to hurt them.
No, but it's not understanding to keep, like, what's mine, and especially people who are very empathetic take on a lot of other people's stuff and not even know what's mine. Is this even a real threat or a fear to me? So EFT is a beautiful way to just kind of examine it and release it, because these fear and anger and sadness and grief, they're not wrong, they're not bad, they're not negative, they're part of this human experience. But we want to be able to feel them and let it go through us, not let it set up camp and live there, Right.
I mean, we are incarnated in the human life to be an emotional being and to learn from those emotions. But what most people don't understand or comprehend is that we do have control over how we feel and how we choose to experience our emotions and experience certain events. So EFT is a great way, I guess, to take kind of back that control and say, I don't like being fearful, so let's remove that and replace it with something positive. So it's a great way to kind of take back control of your own emotional being, and being able to use your emotions to kind of guide you and push you in a very positive way, in a positive direction that will be more beneficial for you. So we kind of stop blocking ourselves. We basically take away blockages that might have been beneficial at the time when the event happened.
You didn't know
at that time, sometimes fear is good. Sometimes fear saves our lives because we run. So in certain events, it is a good positive thing. But whenever you see a person that kind of resembles like the person who was threatening you, for instance, you'll get the same fear. That no longer, works for you. That is no longer beneficial to you. So it is a great way to reprogram that response and change it around so it no longer hinders you in your life. Oh, great. I love it.
Yeah.
So
like you said, it's emotional freedom technique. So you're freeing yourself from that emotional charge associated with something that happened, something physical in your body, something that you're worried about. And it's so simple to do. And when you have all this stress or anger or just chronic negative emotions, it hinders your natural body's immune system and healing response, because a lot of anger and the cortisol and the adrenaline, it'll create inflammation in your body. So Bruce
it'll
Lipton,
create illness.
Dis-ease. Your body is not at ease. And Bruce Lipton's book, I think he said about 95% of physical conditions he believes have a huge emotional component. And if we address the emotional component of it, oftentimes the physical body can heal. You can move that energy through and you can overcome and get back to your abundance, get back to your joy, get back to your
natural state of being. State of being. We come into this world as happy, completely trustworthy beings, fearless, because we're babies.
Somebody ever seen a toddler? They're fearless.
They're like, they go for it. They don't have any fear. So it basically can help us to release stress, fear, anxiety, physical illness, because all illnesses are created by an energetic, energy buildup, and kind of restore our factory mode in our body. So how cool is that? Very, very cool. So it is safe. There's probably no side effects. Eric's kind of shaking his head no. He's like, not really. like you said, it's
yeah. See,
the same thing.
when you have a wanted effect, it's a benefit. When you have an unwanted effect, it's a side effect. So it's only positive side effects. You're not going to hurt yourself doing this.
And so
The only thing I would say,
great
for what? I'm sorry.
It'll also be great for children.
Children are amazing at tapping. Adults need a lot of convincing to kind of get over this strange thing that you're doing. Kids take right to it. The only thing I would caution for beginning tappers is maybe not going in to your deepest, darkest fear first, or work with a practitioner to kind of help guide you through, because you don't want to re-traumatize yourself if you're not familiar. Like when you're riding a bike in the beginning, you're like, okay, wait, I have to balance, I have to steer, I have controls in my hands and my feet. You wouldn't want to go, ride down a busy highway with that. You need to learn how to kind of maneuver and get comfortable with it first. So either go with a practitioner who can help you and guide you for a couple of sessions, or start gently. Start gently with just, something that's kind of a moderate.
Small.
Just start with something moderate. Yeah. But
baby
quickly, well, when I first learned to tap, I had worksheets and I just filled them out with dreams and fears and pain. I mean, I like over tapped myself because I was like, oh my God, I can tap everything away. So I overwhelmed myself. So yeah, I was like, I have to fix everything now. I was like, I've had 40 years to get here. I'm just gently. And now, I mean, I recommend tapping whenever you have something that's upsetting, or tapping when I like to tap before I meditate to kind of clear away just the emotions of the day. And then I can feel like I've processed them and I'm more centered.
Right.
But in the beginning, just recommend just gently easing into it. And then pretty soon you get the habit and it's just so easy. You don't even think about riding the bike. You just take off and go,
Yeah. So do you have to be licensed to teach this to people?
No, this is an energy. It's an alternative energy healing technique. Mm-hmm. And there are several places that you can get certified through, and I'll put links on my website. My website is myuntappedpotential.com, and I have links on there to different places for people who are interested to learning how to tap for themselves or learning to be a practitioner. I learned through Dr. Carol Luck. She's up in New York. She was a trained psychologist, and she started to add hypnosis to her sessions, and she got great results, but it was taking a long time to get people under aggression, to kind of get back to some of those subconscious triggers.
Right.
And then she started adding this tapping thing in the 80s to her sessions, and people were like having these breakthroughs within 5 minutes. So she became one of the founders of this practice. Gary Craig was one of the original people who kind of put this modality together. And now it's just like you said, it's everywhere. It's on YouTube and books and webinars. It's all over. So right now there are places that are certifying people, but you just have to find a practitioner that you're comfortable with. You just type EFT in your town and you'll find people. And because we can do it over Skype, you can tap with anybody internationally. It doesn't matter where they are.
Right. But, either way, with anything that we do, it's always good to, make sure that you follow your feelings and you feel good with a person. Then it's usually 100%. The right person for you. Yeah. So always follow your feelings. And
it's not a substitute for medical advice. But the more I have done this, the less and less and less I've needed medicines, doctor visits, less I've needed it. It's definitely got its place and it's life-saving when it's needed. But the more I have found I work with my body, my energy, my physical symptoms, I don't need it anymore.
Right, because you're clearing negative energy out of your system. And so when we do that, the body will automatically respond very positive to that. So yeah. Okay, so what does it look like? How do we do it? Let me see. I want to learn.
You get your fingers. Now, if you cannot tap in a public place, you can either do this under the table. You can even imagine tap. Imagine that. You can even just imagine that you're tapping once you get the process down. So all you need is literally your mind and your fingertips. And the first thing we do is we pick a situation that's troubling us. And the more specific, the better. Instead of I just have low self-esteem, which is a big sort of overarching, say Monday morning meetings when I have to present to my team, I can't sleep Sunday night. I just worry. I feel clammy. My tummy hurts. And then when I get up in front of my meeting, my voice shakes and I just kind of go blank. So that's sort of a more specific, instead of just, I can't talk to people, I don't know how to express myself, I feel like I have low self-esteem, we're getting real specific. So my fear of my Monday morning meeting, for example.
Okay.
But you can tap on a physical pain in your body, something that happened in the past, something that's emotionally upsetting now, something in the future. It can be your relationship with money, with food, with a person. It can be your anger at yourself. It can be anything you're having an emotional response to, you can tap on it.
Right.
So number one, you know what? I have a sheet. It's on my website, myuntappedpotential.com. And if you click on the contact link page, it will give you a copy of this for free. So this is what I'm going to be going off of today, and everybody can click on it and get it for free. So the first thing you do is you pick your situation, and we give it a brief phrase that reminds us of the situation, because we're sort of going into that emotional system, and we're going to activate your body's response to it. We're going to see what happens when you think about that. Number two is, on a scale from 0 to 10, how big of a deal is this to you? 0 meaning, doesn't bother me at all. 10 to it's that agony. It's the worst I've ever felt it. And it's not a head number. You kind of go into your body like, okay, this is a 7. This is kind of a 7. And we actually write the number down, because you can't remember feeling that bad often when you get to the other side of it. And it's a good way to help validate that you're moving these emotions through, especially in the beginning. Number 3, I ask people to tune into the problem, look at it, feel it. And how does it feel in your body? How is your body responding to that imagined threat that's happening in your mind? Now, some people, if they're in the middle of a crisis, you don't have to, it's all happening to you. But we would like to teach you how does your body respond to your thoughts? Mm-hmm. Because we can take a pill to change our body's chemistry. You can take food to change your body's chemistry. But by far, the fastest thing that influences your body's chemistry is your mind.
Right.
You can have a thought of something fearful, and instantly your adrenaline rushes, and you feel like a different person. So I say, close your eyes, and where do you feel it? Is it weight on your chest? Do your shoulders hurt? Does it give you a headache when you just start thinking it? Does it make your hands want to just ball up? And then number 4 is what we call the setup phrase. And we use the karate chop point, which we call this kind of meaty part on the side of your hand. And you can either tap them together, one hand or the other, it doesn't matter. But we're going to say a setup statement 3 times. Even though I'm feeling this emotion about this situation, I love and accept myself anyway. So when you're tapping with a practitioner, I'm the one that's guiding you, and you repeat after me. So you would say, so do you have I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you have like a frustration that you would like to tap on that we can use in as an example? If not, I'll just make something up.
Not at this moment, but let's say,
I mean, anxiety and stress are big ones.
Let's say you have to do a job interview and you're really nervous for it. What would you say?
Okay, even though I'm so nervous about this interview, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. So you're saying, even though I'm having all these big emotions about this thing, I choose to honor my feelings and love and completely accept myself anyway. So we say that 3 times. And the reason we're doing that, if we just want to cut the situation out and make it go away, we can't do anything with this. It's part of our reality, even if it's a perceived reality. We actually have to invite it into the room. It takes some bravery and a lot of honesty to kind of say, yep, this is what I'm dealing with. Because then we often judge ourselves for feeling away. Like, I'm mad that I'm sad. I'm angry. I feel guilty that I'm not mad. Or, we have all these different things. So we actually have to bring it all in together and say, even though I'm feeling all this anxiety about this job interview, I love and accept myself anyway. And then we go through the tapping points. So you're going to get 2 fingers, and you're going to tap right on the inside of your eyebrow hair. You have a major meridian running right through this line. Mm-hmm. And you just gently tap. Now, if you're mad, don't pound on it. Just gently tap 5 or 6 times. The second point is the side of the eye. And it's not in your eye, and it's not on your temple. It's just on that orbital bone. And now next one is under the eye. Now you can do single hand tapping. It doesn't matter which one. You can cross your body. You can't get these points wrong because the energy is all over your body. These are just more sensitive points. Okay. The next one's under the nose. It's usually single hand tapping. The next one's under the chin in that little crease. The next one is your collarbone. So if you feel this little bony collarbone and then go down and out about an inch. feel that little bony collarbone?
Yeah.
You got to go in a little bit more. You feel it? Kind of do this, and you'll feel 2 little bones.
Oh yeah, right there. Okay.
Okay, and then go down and out about an inch. So you can tap right here, or you can just do a whole chest thump, or like this. You're just thumping on these major meridians. Your thymus is right here. And the next one is under the arms, kind of where the bra line hits. You look like a monkey.
I feel like
So you can either do it across the body or one side, both sides. And then the next one's the top of the head. And you've got meridians running all through the top of your head. Do I have my meridian sheet here? I can show you a picture. I don't.
Do you do that with 2 hands or one?
You can do it 1 hand, 2 hands. You're just all over the top of your head like that.
Now I feel like a monkey.
Yeah.
I do
And then take a
feel,
deep breath and
okay,
stop tapping.
I do feel.
Do you feel the energy?
Yes. I mean, not everybody might feel that, but I'm very super sensitive to energy. And so I instantly feel like the energy getting lighter is what I feel. It just gets lighter.
Down.
And I haven't even done the affirmations yet. That's just the tapping alone.
That's just the tapping. Cool. That's just the tapping. So I tell people sometimes they're like, I don't know what to tap on. Just walk through your day tapping on your body, and it's sending a calming signal down. But when you do it combined with this, when we're bringing up the trauma and tapping while we're doing that, we're lowering that whole emotional response to it. And then the magic happens when you put the positive affirmations in and you start. So we'll get to that. So right now we were going through around all the tapping points where you're telling the story, maybe describing the pain. Sometimes we recall a trauma. Sometimes we're tapping about what we're worried about. Like, for example, having this job interview. And we're just gently tapping on these points. So we'll just use this as an example. I'm so nervous to go to this job interview. And if I'm with a practitioner, you're going to repeat after me. So you're going to be my guinea pig today. Okay. So I'm so nervous to go to this job interview.
I'm so nervous to go to this job interview.
Yep. My stomach is a knot.
My stomach is a knot.
Yep. I feel like I just want to get back under the bed sheets.
I feel like I want to get back under the bed sheets.
And what we're doing is we're really telling the story. We're really we're giving ourselves permission to just feel everything. Because often we don't want to feel it.
It's like, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay to just feel all this. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid they're going to tell me no. I'm afraid I'm going to go blank.
Right.
Now, sometimes I'll when somebody's in a memory or somebody's in a situation, I'll say, go into this feeling and tell me if there's a memory in the feeling. Okay. So we're going through all these tapping points, and they might say, oh yeah, I remember when I had to get up in front of the class and give my presentation in 2nd grade, and I went blank, and they all laughed at me, and I cried, and I never wanted to speak in public again. That little thing that happened in 2nd grade is influencing your potential to go get this great job that you want. Right. So often I will go back into that memory while we're still tapping. And I'm like, okay, I want you to be the little be the little kid and have him tap with us and stand up at the board and feel those feelings that he's feeling of shame and disappointment or anger, whatever it was. And he's saying, even though I'm feeling all this, I'm still a great kid. Even though I feel horrible and I never want to do this again, it's okay. And then we start giving him the affirmations like, I learned from this. This is, I have empathy for other people who don't always get it right. This is how we learn, by making mistakes. And then you bring that into the present day, and often there's this huge shift of, it's not that bad. It's just a job interview. I can do this. This is what I want. So sometimes we'll go into a memory and we'll clear any memory that shows up. So sometimes just ask yourself, is this feeling feel really familiar, and where have I felt it before? Okay, so often we'll go clear an old memory, and I say, even if it's a minor little memory of your dad giving you a sideways glance that you felt was like a stink eye, and you took that in as, I'm not enough. Even if it's something insignificant, tap on that feeling, and often it will release it. And then this present day, you just go, oh, okay, all right. So number 7, I'll say, what's the upside to keeping the problem? What would happen if you didn't have this fear of the job interview? And then it might be a fear of success. Well, I might actually get the job, and then I'll have all this responsibility, and then I'll make money, and I might not do well with it. Like, we have this fear of getting the thing that we say we want. So sometimes we go into the future and we tap on what's coming that you might be afraid of, and it's an imagined scenario, because we are very good at going to the worst case scenario in our minds in about a nanosecond, and our body's responding to that, right? So we have to bring it back and say, this is what's happening. It's not happening. It's right here, right now. And that's where I bring in the law of attraction. You can create that reality, or we can create whatever reality you want with your energy. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're doing all this while we're tapping, by the way. So we're tapping through all of these points. We're feeling it in our body. We're telling the story of what we're feeling. We're going into any memories. We're going, what am I afraid of if I get what I want? And usually after you've done this, and sometimes you can do this in 30 seconds, and sometimes it's a good 15, 20 minutes to go through it. Often you will feel a sense of like, oh, okay, I can let that go now. And I'll say, after you've completed the story and you feel more, you felt everything deeply and you feel a bit lighter about it, that's when we tap in all the positive, the affirmations and the positive thoughts. And it's often a real release to say, like, I was little when I learned how to feel this way, or I forgive them. Now that I have an adult perspective, I can let that go. This was my body's way of trying to protect me, like Eric was saying, by keeping me scared. But it's not really a threat to me anymore. And the more you stay out of the fight or flight, the more you are in tune with your intuition, your spirits, your guides, the more cognitive thinking you have. Because when you're in fight or flight, you literally get dumb. That's why we lose thought. So we're able to have more creative ideas and more intuitive hits when we stay relaxed. Even looking at the exact same problem that a few minutes ago was staring you, like, I don't have the answer to how to fix it. I'm just going to relax, go through this tapping process, and it will look and feel different.
Right. Okay.
So we're going through, and on my webpage, on this sheet that everybody's got available, it's got a bunch of little thought starters. Because sometimes people are like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this. And it's often just, I forgive myself. I let it go. I choose to feel better now. I appreciate the lesson. Even if I don't know what it is yet, there's some beautiful lesson in this whole situation for me. And we're programming all of that now into your body.
Right.
Okay. And so once we do that, and then the magic comes in, tap in how you want to feel. Tap in how the new response you want your body to have to the same situation, or the emotions that you think you'll feel when you have what you want. So say, okay, when you get that job and you've got that great new office and you get that paycheck and you're doing everything that you know is you, that you love, how will you feel when you have that job? Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, I feel strong. I feel confident. I feel like I've got my shit together. I feel like, this is moving me in the right direction. I feel like, if that's the case, then I'm like, okay, I am like, choose all those feelings now. I choose strength. I choose confidence. I choose this empowerment. Even if it's not perfect, it's okay. And then you walk into the interview with that emotional energy, you're going to have a very different interview.
Yeah, because you'll have removed, when we get fearful, or it's like our bodies and our minds shut down. And so when you do the tapping, I guess you open it up and you release that native energy. And so you create space in the mind to do some clear thinking, to in some way or form allow your higher self to communicate to you better. Because when we're stressed out and freaked out, we're full of anxiety, we're full of fear, there ain't nothing coming through that we can hear. They're trying to communicate to you. Your spiritual team will try and help you, but you won't receive the signal because you're blocking it out. And so when we become calm and we release those fears, that energy, you basically open back up. You open up the channel for them to guide you through the interview, so they can help you through the interview. Yeah. They can literally give you the ideas on what to say, how to think. So, yeah,
and I'm a huge fan of Course in Miracles. This is almost like a form of focused prayer to say, oh my gosh, here's all this fear. Here's where I think it may have come from, or I don't know, but this is what I'm feeling. I surrender it. I'm going to go ahead and give it up. I'm going to ask for guidance to see and feel this all differently. And the word miracle gets thrown around a lot when we're tapping, because that whole biblical of you can move mountains, that's what this feels like. Because sometimes you feel like you have a mountain in front of you and you just move it. And you're like, oh, well, there's the path right there.
Just like, like Eric and Adam, and they always say the same thing, your mind creates your reality. So this kind of gives you a tool to reset the mind and to give you back that opportunity to take control of your future and of your manifestation process. So I know a lot of people out there are going to say, well, how's this going to help? And, affirmations, they don't really work. But Eric is giving me a very big thumbs up, and he's saying this stuff truly works. It's been, they've been doing this for years and years and years, and people can literally, change their whole lives with this when they can deal with trauma in a way that is comfortable for them. They don't feel like they need to go to a therapist and open everything up. They really literally have control over their own healing process. And so would you recommend doing this on a daily basis when you start, or do you continue to do it on a daily basis, or how do you continue? Do you kind of just use
different,
maintenance?
Everybody's different. Sometimes some people love to get up in the morning, and it's a good thing to do in the morning to kind of start their day. Especially if you've had a bad dream or you just funk, it's a good thing to do in the morning. Some people like to do it in the middle, right before going to bed, to kind of clear the day and program themselves for a great night. Some people do it throughout the day, especially if you have a stressful job, stressful relationships. If you're dealing with a lot of just angst, go take 5-10 minutes at your lunch break and just go tap and clear so that you can keep showing up. So I used to tap a lot, and now I just mentally almost tap. And sometimes I am physically tapping. And my kids are like, Mom, why are you tapping? I'm like, I am so frustrated right now. And so they know. My kids, if they wake up in the middle of the night with a bad dream, they're like, Mom, tap. And I'll tap with them. As kids are amazing. I can tap. You as a parent, you can tap on anybody. You can surrogate tap for people. If somebody you're not close to or they don't want physically tapping, you can send that intention of love. It's up to them if they want to receive it, but you can surrogate tap for people. So I say tap as needed. And then there's always stressors in life. There's always rugs that get pulled out from under you and curveballs that you try to catch, sometimes successfully. So I'll go for a few weeks now without really tapping, and then some days, weeks, it's happening all the time. And it's not a cure. It's not a substitution for going through the process. It's just, like you said, another tool to really help you process the stuff that your higher self had you come down here and have contrast and have experiences happen, both easy and hard. So this is just a way to kind of help you through the harder times, help you move through those emotions. Because once your body responds, it's hard to not be stuck in the middle of it, And then some people were taught it wasn't safe to feel emotions. It's not safe to show your emotions. So they don't feel emotions from the neck down. They're all in their head and they don't feel, but their body might be screaming at them, liver problems, heart problems, aches and pains. And they don't realize it's emotional trauma that they have just not worked through, and that it's safe to work through it. And that you said, you don't have to expose it to the world. You can do this on your own. And it improves your relationships in so many ways. So
it's great. So I have this question from Lisa, and because you said, it's also, you can do it for physical pain as well. But her question was if it could help with constipation, because her child has had constipation problems for years. Do you think that might work for that as well?
Yeah, so the child, and when you're tapping with kids, you kind of change the language a little bit. Like, even though my tummy hurts and I can't go poop, I'm still a great kid. Mm-hmm. Even though this hurts and I'm really frustrated and I don't like it, I'm still a great kid. And so we change the language a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they are usually very fast and receptive to doing it, but you don't ever want to force a child to tap. but you can show them that it's worked for you, or you can just sit there and send it to them with your own tapping, with your own energy. But most kids are pretty receptive. So you would say, I just can't poop. This poop won't come out, or it hurts to push, so I don't want to push. Sometimes there's a trauma in there. Maybe not always. Maybe with the potty training there was a trauma, or maybe there was something going on in the house that they just don't know how to deal with, and they're holding on to it. Literally, their gut is holding on to something.
Yeah.
And kids, sometimes it's something minor that we wouldn't have thought would have upset them, but maybe just getting them to talk and gently open up. Sometimes 2 or 3 minutes of tapping, all of a sudden their tummy starts gurgling and they're like, I gotta go poop,
Yeah.
Sometimes, and again, there could be, food allergies, there could be other physiological components to it, but often it's really amazing what will happen when you just say, even though I'm feeling this, I'm okay. Even though this is happening, I choose to relax, because so much of our emotions are held in our gut.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're literally holding on to something, or we can't digest something, it does kind of get backed up. And Louise Hay, a lot of people are familiar with Louise Hay, and she's written amazing books. Heal Your Mind, Heal Your Body. No, I'm getting that wrong. Heal Your Body. Let's see, I've got one of her books right here. It's called Heal Your Body, but it's all about the emotional components to our physiological health. And so it's a great place to start to kind of get the affirmations. And constipation is often a refusal to let go, or being stingy, or like it's not safe to let go of things.
Right.
And your body's literally holding on to its poop. It won't move it through, or I can't digest something. So I know there's kind of big.
My daughter might have that. My youngest daughter's dealing with a lot of constipation, and she's just afraid to let go. It's like part of her. It's like part of her is going to be gone if she does. So I think
right. So we may say
she can't hold no more, but then she creates constipation.
So all we would do is say, this feeling like it's not safe, this feeling like I can't let it go, this feeling like part of me will be gone if I let it go. I don't want to let it go, but I do want to let it go. We just acknowledge what the conflict, or we acknowledge what she's dealing with, and then let her know it's safe to let it go. It's meant to be part of a cycle. It's meant to move through you. There's more food coming. Whatever she starts talking about, you just gently go with it without judgment.
Yeah.
And you just really talk on their level while tapping, and you'll be amazed that she might all of a sudden just like, okay, it's safe to let go, literally, and go poop. You gotta tap to crap.
Well, Eric and Adam were just saying that children, are amazing with this, because, they get it really fast. And, he's saying if they have it from childhood, it will help them for the rest of their lives. They will have a technique for the rest of their lives to deal with stress and to deal with worry and frustration and fear. And he's saying, children are not as critical as adults are. And so they have less of a need to understand the inner working of the energy system. And so that's why they can allow the treatment process to unfold more naturally, than adults do. So, it's very safe, people, he says, and it's very effective with children. So, we teach them meditation, teach them tapping, give them all the tools that's going to create more enlightened beings in the future, because they will know how to deal with their emotions. They will know how to heal them. So, yes, he's definitely
Eric,
definitely giving it a thumbs up.
I want to interview Eric for this EFT show, because he puts it very succinctly. I get all like,
you get excited. No, it's good.
I get excited.
That's fine. That's fine. I love it when you get excited. Okay, so because I had a question from, let's see here, from Daisy. She said that she has started a tapping session with school staff, and she was following Donna Eden on YouTube, and she was just asking if there were specific taps that you could suggest for calmness. Are there different kinds of tapping, or is it just what we say that is different, the affirmations that are different?
Yeah, the process, the physical process is the same. You're just tapping on yourself. So for tapping on calmness, it might be very beneficial to be like, where am I triggered where I get out of my calm? Is it when the kids are wanting to run around? Is it when, what's triggering me to get frustrated, where I'm losing my calm? And tap on that, where you're imagining the kids getting rowdy, or they're speaking out, or they're not minding you, where you feel like you're flustered. You go through that whole exercise that we just did, where you're tapping on that experience, and what's your reaction to it? Do you start to get short? You start to get tense, the opposite of calm.
Right.
And each teacher will have a different trigger, Some might just get real tired at the end of the day. They know their blood sugars and they're getting tired, and some are, so everybody's different. But tapping on their specific issue of what's taking them out, going all the way through it until they can see the situation and not respond in their knee-jerk reaction way, but they can say, they're kids. This is their kids. They need their 5-minute break, or let's do the wiggle dance, or whatever. There'll be a creative solution for whatever's taking them out of the calm, so they can stay calm. And then the kids feel it too. And tapping is becoming more popular in schools for test anxiety, for social interactions, just the pressures, the overwhelm of school sometimes.
Right.
And I know Nick Ortner and his sister, they have the tapping solution. They're doing amazing things with tapping, and they took it to like Sandy Hook, where they had the school massacre. They took the tapping into the schools to just try to reassure the kids they're safe, they're okay, to process the horror and the guilt or whatever they were going through. So tapping is amazing for, the dynamic of a teacher and a student is beautiful, and for very different reasons, but the process is the same.
Right. All right, cool. I had a question also of someone, and the question was, I don't remember the name, because I had, while I was copying the questions, my computer went on meltdown, and I've lost half of the questions. Okay. I'm sorry if I don't say your name. But the question was if tapping changes your DNA.
What a great question. And yes, and it physiologically changes the chemical soup that your cells are floating around in. And they've done all this study with epigenetics, and that means above the genes. So you may have genes that you got through your parents' DNA that have a tendency to do this if triggered and turned on. But you are so much in control of the soup that your body is marinating in, that those triggers never get turned on. You keep the inflammation down, the stress hormones down. With this ability, you can literally stop things from turning on or activate the positive genes of resiliency and these things that the body's own healing mechanism. Yes. And then I believe in the spiritual realm, you can change DNA lines up and down. So you may have gotten a gene for breast cancer.
Right.
But I believe it's the worrying thoughts, the lack of mothers nurturing themselves, because the breasts are all about nurturing and giving. You're breastfeeding, your heart center's right here. So I think women often don't take care of themselves, put themselves first. And a lot of those genetic ideas are handed down more so than the genetics in your actual cell's DNA. So yes, there's so much more scientific study that's coming up to show that tapping changes your blood chemistry. It lowers all the stress hormones. It elevates all the feel-good hormones. And it can literally change the way your body's genes respond. So yes.
Well, this is what Eric is showing me. He's saying that, when it comes to DNA, it's all about, there's energy in there, and he's just saying that, when we have a lot of negative emotions, scientists can literally see that the DNA strands shorten. And so after they've done studies, after, using EFT, and that they could literally see if people reinforce themselves with EFT, with love, with positive affirmations, they could literally see the DNA lengthen. So it's not just taking away the energy, the negative energy out of it, but it's also it physically actually changes.
Yeah.
You know, and
Amazing.
that's pretty cool if you think about it, that it can literally change the cells in our body to realign, to heal themselves, to kind of reboot themselves. So, you know, I think, and Eric's kind of shaking his head yes with my thought, that, you know, our body is capable of doing incredible things. We can literally rearrange, renew our bodies with our mind. I think there will come a time, probably not in this lifetime, but one day, where we will literally be able to heal ourselves with our mind.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Cool.
I'm nodding. Yeah.
Very cool. And
Your
apparently
cells,
they have the scientific proof for it. They can literally see lengthening or shortening, whether it is emotional, negative emotions, it shortens. If it's positive emotions, it lengthens. And apparently they tried the EFT technique on that and could literally see the change. So how cool is that?
yeah, and there's a scale of human emotions, and like shame, grief, fear are very heavy, dense emotions. They're very contracted. They're very tight energy, and that's how they feel when you're in your body. But as you start letting those go, and you may not go from shame to enlightenment, but you may go from shame to anger. That's actually a move up the emotional scale. And then you may go from anger to neutrality. And then you go neutrality to love. And then acceptance, joy. You start moving yourself up this scale, and that's when the energy literally is expansive. So that just correlates between the contracted energy and the expanded energy of love that is just bigger and brighter.
It's just cool how things, it's like, you know, it's like when they do those tests with, you know, you had that one guy who did the test with the water, and then he puts it under molecules to see.
Yeah, Dr. Emoto, yeah.
How it changes with the emotions that we attach to it. Or, you know, if you put two plants in a separate room, you feed it the same, you water it the same, and one gets, you know, a lot of negativity, the other one gets love. You know, it can literally kill a plant. Negativity can kill a plant. You know, I mean, just think about that, people. You know, negativity can literally kill our body slowly, but
and your cells are listening to everything your brain is telling it. And so our negative self-talk, or the media, the things that we're letting in that are fear-based,
it's attacking
all of that.
ourselves.
It's affecting you, and you have discernment over how much you let in and what you choose to believe. So often, don't believe your own self. Don't believe your mind. You know, we get lost in thought, but don't believe your own thoughts. Question your own thoughts. Yes.
You know, I say that almost every day during my readings. I have to tell everyone that. Eric is always going, screw this, enlighten this. You know, your heart, your feelings, your emotions need to, you know, if it feels good, you follow it. If it doesn't feel good, you step away and go in a different direction. But don't allow your mind to make the decisions. Allow your feelings to make the decisions for you, and you'll be going in the right direction.
Well, yes, but when you have these fearful emotional responses, you got to tap on them first. So you don't have to do anything. I suggest, because I often say, well, my head and my heart are different, and when I think about doing what I love, I'm so scared to do it. So you talk yourself out of it.
Right.
Tap on those emotions and then see how you feel. Like tap through the fear, the trauma, or the baggage, and then see, am I really scared, or is this really something amazing to step into?
Yeah,
you know?
Just it's a good way to start, you know, fresh, kind of neutral, you know, and then.
So I'm so excited talking about it, because this is my favorite thing. And I
think it, you know, I had already kind of seen it on YouTube, and I was like, how does that gonna do anything? But I get it now. It all has to do with energy, with thought processes, and it has to do with the rewiring of the brain and the responses that we have, the automatic responses. So I think it's a really cool thing. Maybe just a few more last questions. So my kids have autism, and I see in their schools there are children who can be, you know, very self-damaging. They'll inflict, you know, they'll attack themselves. Can it work for kids with autism? Can it help the autism, or can it just help them with being more relaxed, being, less self-damaging. What do you think?
I say yes to all the above. And I say to the parents to tap too on their stress, because, when you have a child with autism, there's a lot of sometimes erratic behavior. It can be very confusing and frustrating. So I self-care for the parents on tapping down the emotional response to that, because the kids are often very empathic and feeding off of your anxiety and response. So that's one part to start. And yeah, I have witnessed amazing things with all kinds of kids on the spectrum, and that, and again, putting it into different words. Now, if tapping feels good to them, they can tap themselves, or if they're allowing, if it's not too much stimulation, you can tap on them. Some kids naturally tap on themselves,
Right.
But yeah, you can, and they may not have the words to articulate, so you kind of have to intuitively guess what they're feeling and say it in the first person, like, I'm really mad, I'm really frustrated, I can't have that ice cream right now, I really, really want it, and it makes me just want to kick and scream and fight, and whatever it is for your child. And while you're tapping, because you're acknowledging how they're feeling, you're acknowledging what their body's doing in response to it, and then you're giving them a way to release it instead of hurting themselves. You're trying to help the brain reprogram itself, that it can communicate, it can frustrate, it can express it, but not in a harmful, self-damaging way. And I've seen amazing results. So I'd actually love to tap with you and your kids to teach you and have them tap.
We have to set that up. But you're right. I think some of them do kind of do a similar thing. What my girl does is, she'll, when Leah, my youngest, is frustrated, she'll go like this. All over she'll just walk around and she like bounces, but I've seen kids, they rock, and it's just their way of kind of zooming out and just kind of, feeling comfortable, releasing the stress and so on. So it's a little bit different than the tapping, but I think it's, for them, it's based on the same thing. It's about moving energy around. They're moving energy around.
Or that's their physiological response to that emotional feeling. And so if it's hurtful or harmful, or if you want to try to help them redirect, try the tapping. And sometimes you just do it and they'll mimic you, even if they don't get the points right, or if they don't do it right.
No,
don't worry.
It doesn't matter.
I'm so frustrated. I just want to move. I don't know what to do with this feeling. It's too big, but I'm still a great kid. Even though I'm feeling this, I'm still awesome. Because we're not trying to fix them.
No.
They don't need to be fixed, and they came in with this. But it's helping everybody learn to cope, to keep that family dynamic. So the parents need to tap, siblings maybe, everybody sort of do their own thing, and then it just feels easier.
Right.
And there's all kinds of scripts online.
A lot of, when it comes to autism, a lot of times they will react, or they will have these meltdowns because they are stuck in a body that's not communicating the way that they want it to communicate, and they can't express it.
Right.
And so they'll have these meltdowns, or they'll do these weird things that people look at like, it's kind of weird. So I think EFT probably definitely help with taking away the frustration, taking away, the stress. Therefore, they'll be able to, to have calmer days. And because I've seen kids who, they go into meltdown every day, and it's really painful to watch, because I know that they're hurting, and that is just their way of getting the frustration out. But, if I just can say one thing, it really doesn't have anything to do with EFT, but I see this so often where autistic kids are rocking, or they're doing their little thing, and they're being smacked, or they're being tapped on by their parents. Don't do that. You're embarrassing me. Please don't do that, people. Okay? Yeah. This is their way of soothing themselves.
Tap with them.
Their way.
Tap. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to touch them gently.
They are so special, and they are so unique. And, if they want to rock to feel better, let them rock. Okay? We don't all have to be like everyone else. Just allow them to be themselves, and allow them to self-soothe. Because if you stop them, they're just going to get more frustrated, and you're just going to get more dramas. coming out of that.
Totally.
So anyway, that was just my thing. I just wanted to get that
that's
out
exactly, because there's usually a trigger, and it may not be something that would trigger us.
It's just something. Okay. Sometimes I see people literally smack their kids because they're rocking. I'm like, oh, do that, you know? I mean, he's just trying to self-soothe. It's okay, you know?
But see, the parents are responding to their own feelings. Yeah, the parents would need to respond. Like, I'm embarrassed.
They're embarrassed, yeah.
Yeah. So that feeling of embarrassment, that feeling of overwhelm, of I don't know how to fix this, and it's a meltdown in public, and oh my God. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for our Joyride show. We had you on, and we talked about all the spiritual perspectives of kids with special needs, and we talked all about the spiritual perspective of your autistic girls, and the insight that you've gained through Spirit on how they're here to teach us.
Right.
And they're here to help guide us to become these more loving and compassionate, generous people. So they're giving us exactly what we can. Yeah.
For people who are, you know, who have, you know, any kind of special need children, I just call them special. I don't call them special need. They're just special. Yeah, go check out our interview. That was a lot of fun doing that. And I think a lot of clarity came from that. So definitely go check that out.
I'd be interested what Eric has to say too about the autistic. Does he have anything to add? Because he's always got great input, since I'm not in the brain of an autism child in this reincarnation.
Well, he says, you know, he says what you said was right. You know, it can help them with the stress. It can help them with releasing certain anxieties and certain frustrations. But it can literally also help their body to restore itself. It can literally take away the inflammation in the brain that is always and constantly present in a child with autism. So with the right tools, with the right motivation, and the right environment, he says how the parents deal with the children, how the energy is in the house, can all contributes to the healing of the autism. It's not going to be fully gone, but you can see definitely great improvements with using EFT.
Yeah, and I was saying there are a lot of online tutorials on EFT. Just find the practitioner that, you know, resonates with you, and a lot of free scripts and a lot of free ways for you to calm yourself, or ideas to work with your children. So it's
I
all
got
out
a little
there.
tickle.
I hear that. We can tap on that. No, we can tap on the tickle in my throat.
Tickle in my throat, isn't it?
Just tickle in my throat.
Love it.
Yes. Yes.
I have to practice. All right, cool. So, wow, this is great. I'm definitely going to try this. I would definitely recommend everyone, please try it. If you've tried, because I know people are going to say, well, I've tried everything and nothing works. Try this, because Eric is saying this is great. Adam is going, dude, this works. So it looks works. Like Spirit is definitely pro.
Well, and Eric often talks about understanding our emotions, and how to that is the beginning of everything. Everything comes from an emotion. The idea, the motivation to do something, it all comes from emotion. And there are so many ways that we can expand the contracted emotions, live the life that we came here to really step into, and heal so many things. There's documentaries about this healing PTSD veterans. Operation PTSD was an amazing documentary where they took veterans through, and on the other week, after they did a week of intense EFT, some of them were clinically not even PTSD anymore.
Wow.
Chronic injuries people have had for 20, 30 years. People can tap away the pain, the emotional trauma that's in there. I've had just miraculous things happen when you kind of put this energy where you just have to do it. It's great to talk about it. You just have to do it.
You just have to do it. Put it into practice. And
so the free sheet is on myuntaptpotential.com, and you go to the contact link, and you put in your little email, and it will give you this free sheet. And Skype me, text me, email me any questions. I'll be happy to answer questions. I know we didn't get to all of your questions today, but we can keep working on it. We'll keep going.
There you go. And, you know, my recommendation is go see Tiffany. She is great. She is compassionate. She is loving. She is spiritual. She is just above and beyond when it comes to helping people. So to everyone out there, go check out her website, make an appointment so she can teach you how to do it correctly, and then you're off. You can start doing it on your own, and you can use it for the rest of your life. Whenever something stressful comes in, just basically change the frequency of it
Totally.
by tapping. So
some people say just change your frequency. And you're like, but how?
How?
This has been my simple, easy to do, and it's very effective. And thank you for letting me come and talk all about tapping. I'm so excited. Thank you to Adam and to Eric, and I love you guys.
Well, we love you too, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with us.
Oh, blessings to everybody. Thank you.
Love you.